In a tranquil pocket of the sprawling Kalahari Reserve, beneath a muted silver sky, a moment of extraordinary tenderness unfolds. An elderly woman, her form settled into the familiar contours of a wheelchair, gazes ahead. Her hands, etched with the lines of time, rest gently in her lap. Before her stands not a human, but a majestic leopard, its sleek, spotted coat shimmering under the soft light. No bars separate them, only a patch of dew-kissed grass. On this hallowed ground, the elusive predator performs an act of astonishing gentleness. A powerful paw, armed with claws that could rend stone, is raised with exquisite care and placed softly on the woman's knee. The air hums with an emotion too profound for words, a silent exchange between two souls from different realms. Who is this woman? What ties her to this formidable creature? This is no random meeting or rehearsed gesture. It is the culmination of a story buried for 30 years, a tale of a single heroic act, a profound sacrifice, and a bond that time could not erode. To grasp the weight of that gentle paw, to understand the history in that quiet gaze, we must travel back 3 decades to a day that broke one life, saved another, and forged a connection stronger than time itself. 30 years ago, Eliza Marrow was a different woman. Young, spirited, her legs carried her effortlessly across the sun-scorched expanses of the Kalahari. She lived for the wild, not merely as a ranger, but as a steward of the land. Her skin was bronzed by the sun, her eyes keen, trained to catch the flicker of a tail in the tall grass or the distant ripple of a herd on the horizon. Her life was a cadence of patrols, tracking, and listening to the ancient heartbeat of the wilderness. She felt a deep kinship with the creatures she protected, a quiet vow that this was her calling. One blistering afternoon, during a routine patrol near a cluster of jagged boulders, a faint sound caught her attention. A high, plaintive whimper nearly lost in the dry wind. She traced it to the edge of a steep, rocky gully. There, perched on a crumbling ledge just below the rim, was a tiny leopard cub, barely a few weeks old. It was alone, trembling, its cries feeble and desperate. No trace of its mother. Eliza knew the harsh arithmetic of the wild. A lone cub was doomed, easy prey for jackals or starvation. Her heart clenched for the small creature. Without hesitation, her instincts took over. She studied the unstable ledge, the loose shale a clear hazard. But abandoning the cub was unthinkable. She dropped to her stomach, inching forward, her arm extended. The cub, sensing her, let out a wavering cry, equal parts fear and hope. "Hold on, little one," Eliza murmured, her fingers grazing its soft, spotted fur. She had it. Her hand closed around the cub's warm body. But in that moment, the earth groaned, the fragile ledge splintering beneath her. In a flash of instinct, Eliza used her last foothold to hurl the cub to safety, watching it tumble onto solid ground. For her, there was no such reprieve. The ground collapsed, and she plummeted into the gully amid a cascade of rock and dust. The last thing she felt was a crushing weight on her legs, a pain so fierce it stole her breath, then darkness. Hours later, another patrol found her, barely conscious, her body shattered. The leopard cub was safe, but Eliza Marrow would never walk again. Her days in the wild were over, her career ended. She returned to a quiet life, confined to a wheelchair, her sacrifice known only to a handful. For 30 years, the story lay dormant. 3 decades is a long stretch, long enough for vivid memories to blur into faded hues, for a life of adventure to feel like a tale from another's life. Now 67, Eliza lived in a modest cottage, her world defined by her small garden and the memories she rarely shared. The Kalahari's golden light was a distant echo, the growl of a leopard a sound that haunted her dreams. She had made peace with her quiet existence, but a piece of her remained on that rocky ledge, forever bound to the choice she made. Then, one crisp morning, her phone rang. It was a voice from the past, a former colleague with news that would pull her back to the wild. The voice on the phone was weathered but unmistakable. After a brief exchange of warm reminiscences, the tone shifted, heavy with purpose. "Eliza," her old colleague said, "I'm calling about something extraordinary. You remember that day? The gully collapse. Eliza's heart lurched. The leopard cub. It survived, Eliza, he continued. We raised it at the reserve. It's still here, a magnificent creature. But there's something odd. It's always been unusually gentle with the rangers, never a hint of aggression. It's puzzled us for years. We had a hunch, and I had to reach out. The words hit Eliza like a desert wind, stirring a storm of emotions, shock, joy, and a fragile hope laced with fear. What if the leopard didn't remember? To it, she might just be a stranger in a wheelchair. The hope felt too precious to risk breaking. That night, Eliza pored over research. Could an animal recall a fleeting act of kindness from its infancy across 30 years? Science offered glimpses. Elephants recognizing handlers after decades. Dogs responding to long-lost owners' voices. But a leopard, a solitary hunter driven by instinct? Could a moment of rescue leave a lasting imprint? The question gnawed at her. Her colleague's account of the leopard's uncanny calmness felt like a thread pulling her back to that day. After days of wrestling with doubt, she made her choice. She had to see for herself. With a heart full of questions and trepidation, Eliza Marrow arranged to return to the Kalahari Reserve, to face the life she'd saved and the cost it had exacted. The reserve was a vast tapestry of untamed land, a sanctuary striving to echo the wild's freedom. As Eliza's wheelchair rolled along a dusty trail, she passed gnarled thorn trees, their silhouettes stark against the clouded sky. The air carried the scent of parched earth and primal life, stirring memories long buried. Two young rangers, a man and a woman, escorted her, their faces a blend of professionalism and quiet awe. They knew her story, and the weight of it hung, unspoken, between them. They paused at the edge of a sprawling enclosure, bordered by a sturdy fence. He's in there, the woman said softly. We'll keep our distance. Eliza nodded, her throat tight. Her eyes scanned the expanse, and then she saw him, a leopard, emerging from a cluster of shrubs. He was breathtaking, his lithe body a tapestry of muscle and rosettes, moving with a fluid grace that spoke of quiet power. His amber eyes gleamed with intelligence as he surveyed his domain. His gaze flicked to the rangers, then settled on Eliza. Their eyes locked. In that moment, the world dissolved. No fence, no wheelchair, no 30 years of separation. Just a woman and a leopard. The leopard approached, not with menace, but with deliberate calm. The male ranger tensed, his hand inching toward his belt. The woman's breath caught, but Eliza felt no fear, only a pulse hammering in her chest. The leopard stopped mere feet from her chair, its gaze unwavering, as if sifting through decades for a spark of recognition. Then, with a grace that belied its strength, the leopard did something that stilled the world. It raised a powerful paw, moving with the softness of a breeze, and placed it gently on Eliza's knee. The claws remained hidden. A profound silence fell, broken only by a quiet gasp from the male ranger. Then, the leopard lowered its sleek head, bowing before her in a gesture of unmistakable respect. Tears traced paths down Eliza's weathered face. Her trembling hand reached out, touching the leopard's coarse, warm fur. You remember me, she whispered, her voice breaking. The moment wasn't the end, but the start of a reunion. As the shock faded, a deep peace settled in. The leopard didn't retreat. When the rangers began to wheel Eliza along the path, it followed, matching the slow roll of her chair, a silent guardian. It kept a respectful distance, never demanding but ever present. At one point, when Eliza paused to soak in the vastness of the reserve, the leopard sank into the grass beside her, resting its head against the wheel with a soft huff, as content as a pet in the sun. The female ranger, trained in the stark realities of wildlife, shook her head, her voice thick. I've seen animals my whole career, she said. I heard stories like this, but I thought they were just that, stories. Until now. The moment was captured on a ranger's phone, filmed with quiet reverence. In the weeks that followed, the footage spread, touching hearts worldwide. But Eliza cared little for the attention. For her, it was deeply personal. A circle closed, a wound healed. The leopard's recognition wasn't just memory. It was validation that her sacrifice, which had reshaped her life, had mattered. She had given the leopard its life, and now, with its gentle bow, it had returned a piece of her soul. This story speaks to a wordless language of kindness, a testament that a single selfless act can ripple through time, forging a bond no divide can break. In a world of chaos, it reminds us that the quietest acts of sacrifice often echo the loudest, proving that heroes wear many forms, and the deepest connections are often unseen.